Battlefield 2042 has got some huge news that you do not want to miss out on. We've got some information regarding Hazard Zone. We've got information about the launch of the game and so much more. So first and foremost, we're getting this all from Tom Henderson. He's been a pretty dedicated leaker, maybe not as good as the legendary Aaron Frogger, but either way, we're going to talk about some of the information that he tweeted about recently regarding the launch of the game, Hazard Zone, and just overall everything that you need to know about the launch state of the game. So first things first, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that there is a capture event going on for Battlefield 2042. So some of your favorite content creators, YouTubers, streamers are currently playing Battlefield 2042. So Tom Henderson tweeted Battlefield 2042 capture event day 1 all-out warfare. The positives are little to no bugs at launch, and many considered Orbital to be one of the worst maps, and other maps play a lot better, and some of the negatives are not a great amount of weapon selection for all-out warfare, bad connection problems during the capture event, which I'm not really worried about the connection aspect of the game, primarily because it is trivial to talk about that because the game has not officially launched. I'm sure they got plenty enough information and data collected from the previous technical test as well as the beta for Battlefield 2042. Now, Tom went on to say that these comments are obviously subject to other people's opinions. Tom then went into details regarding the performance on PC for Battlefield 2042, and he said, and I quote, Battlefield 2042's performance still doesn't seem great on PC, but a lot better than the beta. DLSS helps, but people with a 3080 and a 5900X or equivalent are still getting around 60 to 70 FPS at 1440p. Ray tracing enabled drops that to about 50, with some reporting drops to even 40 FPS. Tom reported that one user was also crashing constantly during the session when being in a vehicle for too long. And they also stated that all settings are from the recommended ultra to high settings based on system requirements. So from what it sounds like, the launch day build of the game is going to be in a lot better state, seeing as that there's not as many bugs. This was also reported by Aaron Frogger, who actually played the game on Xbox, and then the PC players that played it during the capture event for day 1. I have a feeling the Battlefield 2042 likely won't be fully optimized for PC until about 6 months after launch, just because it takes a little bit of time for them to fully optimize the game because they've got so much data that they could use to better the game. Right now, they just have the tech test as well as the beta to work off of. But once the game finally comes out and they get about 3 to 4 weeks full of just data regarding performance, then they're going to be able to fine-tune things, fix all the bugs, and make the game perform and play buttery smooth. Speaking of the capture event, Tom Henderson reported that the embargo is going to be lifted on November 11th, 2021 at 12 p.m. CET, 11 a.m. GMT, 6 a.m. Eastern, and 3 a.m. Pacific, which means get ready because your favorite Battlefield YouTuber will be rolling out a bunch of content. I'm sure Jack Frags is probably already at the max level at this point, so we should expect to see some high quality gameplay from him. So day 1 of the capture event was November 8th, and then day 2 of the capture event was November 9th, where we got a big data dump from Tom Henderson regarding Hazard Zone, because that's the game in the mode that every YouTuber and content creator played that day. And from the initial reaction, it sounds like Hazard Zone is going to be a really fun game to play because it's got a lot of similarities to Tarkov. It's going to be a tactical shooter, and according to Tom Henderson, the capture event day 2 Hazard Zone, he said this, and I quote, it's a high intensity mode with some really cool moments that gets the heart going. The biggest drawbacks is the player economy is screwed and you need to back out of the main menu to upgrade your setup after each match. He went on to say that it seems like you're going to have a bad time if you're playing solo or if you're just not so good of a player. Basically, you need to play several matches to upgrade your items, all of which can be lost if your team dies in one game. And he said it looks like it will be a mode for a strong team play. Now, as for how Hazard Zone works, 4 players start with 0 credits. For killing bots, players, you will get credits plus collect data, but to get money for data, you have to escape from the map in one of 2 transport extraction points. If you are killed before you escape, you only get credits for killing AI and players. Before you start a new match, you could buy weapons plus accessories, but if you die/lose, you lose everything, so you have to start collecting or killing players and AI again in order to continue your progression throughout Hazard Zone. Tom posted another thread regarding Hazard Zone, and he said, and I quote, the difficulty I'm finding with Hazard Zone is that casual players are going to get destroyed over and over again and be at a disadvantage at the start of each game. At least in Battle Royale, all players are equal once they land. He went on and said the better players in the session already accumulated thousands of credits and said the economy needed adjusting because they have nothing to do with the credits now. Additionally, some of the worst players were vocal that there needs to be a loser's payout or something similar to that because during the entire day, they weren't able to buy a single weapon. Tom Henderson said it was also reported that people with faster PCs that can also be considered as the more hardcore players were able to load in the matches more quickly, essentially giving them a head start to be able to loot, kill AI, and prepare to kill enemy players. Now, obviously, we know that this is pretty much exactly like Escape from Tarkov, but the reality is it might be a little bit more of a barrier of entry for those of you that are playing solo or just aren't good enough at the game to be able to compete with people who will play for thousands of hours. Tom then went on to quote FPS Crash's video that stated, "You keep your bank account credits even if you die. You just lose the gear that you've purchased." So Tom said, in theory, if you're a good player, you can just rake up millions of credits. So my take on the entire situation with Hazard Zone: yes, will it be a much more hardcore experience that requires you to play with your squad? Yes. Do I think it's a bad thing? No. I actually prefer the more hardcore approach to games like Battlefield, especially if the matches for Hazard Zone are not ranked based on skill. If it's a completely randomized play session, then I will be very excited, because that is what we need in games. Skill-based matchmaking is great for some games, but if you have a game that's more for hardcore players and you're constantly getting destroyed by some of the better players in the game, then you have a casual mode that's called All Out Warfare, where you could just kind of get good at the game. And then if you want to jump into the Hazard Zone and go up against a bunch of sweats or just random people, then you could totally do that there. And if you're still not having a casual experience, then you could always boot up Battlefield Portal. Then you could design the game exactly how you would like it to be. Speaking of Battlefield Portal, it sounds like the capture event for 11/10 of 2021 will be a play session for Battlefield Portal. So I look forward to seeing more gameplay with that. I'm sure Tom Henderson is going to have some news regarding that, and I cannot wait to see that. I'll make a video if he does report on it. Hopefully he does, but then again, I kind of don't want spoiled. But either way, guys, the hype for Battlefield 2042 is real. We're getting our first glimpse at everything that we should know very soon with the launch of Battlefield 2042, and it sounds like the developers were able to fix a lot of the bugs and some of the game-breaking performance issues. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up with this video. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, leave a like. Get ready for the content for Battlefield 2042. I plan to cover it pretty extensively, so for weapon guides, news and information, as well as just gameplays, definitely stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike if you did not like it. This has been Wes, and I will talk to you on the next one.